I mean, yeah.
That's the thing. Here's the thing. Like this. Okay. First of all, 3, 2, 1, we're live. Secondly, this app asks this thing we use, whereby.com. It asks you to ask for consent before recording, which is really nice. But the thing is that it completely ignores the fact that neither Bilal nor Alejandro are in the United States, so our laws don't apply to them either way. That's number one. Number two, I'm in New York, which is a one-party record state. So again, I repeat, I don't have to tell them anything.
Yeah, that is not how you romance, Ben.
I mean, I'm not trying to romance you.
You should.
Why? I'm married with a kid. I'm very, very, very not in the romantic.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. You just admit you forgot how to.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mixed Martial Angst Podcast. I'm your host, Ben Kohn. Joining me today, we have
There will be no romance this podcast.
There will be no romance this podcast. Apparently only pain if you watched certain fights.
Are we going to talk about the fight that
made us so mad that we were raging for like 35, 40 minutes straight, and we're gleeful when we found out he was pulled from another fight on the card? Yes, we're going to talk about that fight.
Oh, shit. Okay.
There's a lot to talk about on this card, actually, because this card was a fucking fun card. I wasn't expecting otherwise. I don't think either of us were expecting otherwise, because if you look up and down the card, it's all a bunch of fun fighters, whether yeah. I mean,
it didn't look fun, but it was fun.
How did it not look fun? You had Davison Figueiredo versus Tim Elliott.
I didn't watch the
prelim card. How do you not watch Tim Elliott?
I was sleeping. Okay, I had to sleep.
That's fair. Well, I mean, that's not really fair because I'm 3 hours ahead of you, and I was not sleeping.
Yeah, but I need my beauty sleep.
Jesus, literally. Bilal's not here. He had things to do, and
he was at a restaurant. Okay,
he's at a restaurant. Look at that fancy boy. Yeah. All right, let's jump right into it because it is the holiday of Sukkot, and I don't have a ton of time. Just like
what is that?
It's one of the Jewish holidays. Like this whole month is like just holiday after holiday after holiday. I'm missing so many work days. It's ridiculous.
That's amazing.
It's not, because I just have to catch up on the work once I come back. Because like only the Jews are off, so the rest of the world keeps working. And my job is to oversee a lot of people, and most of my staff is not Jewish. In fact, almost all of my staff is not Jewish. So they're all working, and I just come back and I'm like, motherfucker, there's so many emails.
See, that's why you should do it like the Mexicans do it. We have these things called off days, like días feriados, but that's not the exact translation, but it's like off days, but they are like mandated. Think of them like...
We do have those.
For example...
There are legal holidays.
Yes, legal holidays and a lot of 3-day weekends. A lot of them.
We can't really do that. Contrary to the idea that the Jews control everything, we don't.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't control it.
We don't. Otherwise, this shit wouldn't be a problem. All right, let's jump right into it. Joanna Jedrzejzczyk defeated Michelle Waterson. Somehow a judge scored a 49-46 card. I don't understand it. Watterson got beat pillar to post. There was one 40-second brief back control, and that was it. She landed one good elbow in the clinch in round one. She landed she had almost landed a head kick, which ended up hitting like the chest neck area of Joanna, which laughed off because it didn't actually land. But everyone went, ooh. Yeah, and then there was a body kick. That's it. Like literally, this was exactly what I expected.
What we expected.
Exactly what you expected. I mean, she beat her everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like the clinch, the off the back foot coming forward with a really swollen right foot that was apparently swollen since round two. I mean, this is exactly why this fight illustrates all the problems with the Jackson Wink program. Right, as coaches and as a system. Like again, we see it again and again and again that they're high level fighters, very, very, very reliant on their athleticism and their dynamism and their wonky shit.
Yeah, like I have a question because I was trying to understand that I couldn't do. Like I honestly couldn't do it. Like there had to be some kind of plan in order to win the fight in spaces. Like everybody does it at the high level, but I couldn't find what Waterson was trying to do in order to win, other than be there and do more.
Her plan kind of looked exactly like she does against most fighters she fights.
Yeah,
throw those kicks that never land. But hey, remember when we talked about how her one chance was a Hail Mary submission, and you were like, no, it's a Hail Mary knockout? I was close to being incorrect.
Yeah, but I'll say this. She didn't get anything. In fact, I'll say this also. Like, I thought it would have been much better if they had stopped the fight at the 5th round.
I think there was no point in continuing that fight. Yeah. This is where I like boxing a lot. It's like, even if you're not getting like completely just career-altering damage, if you just won't win, they'll just stop the fight. Same thing in like kickboxing or Muay Thai or
No, you have to be a warrior, Ben.
Oh my God, we'll get there. There's a lot. I'm really mad about that. I want to give it proper. Like, I need to I want to make sure we get to the actual fights and talk about it. Because I feel like we might wait a little long on that.
But I feel like just quickly.
Sure, go ahead.
I feel like Waterson tried her very best.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for her, it didn't work at all.
Yeah, this is her ceiling. This is her ceiling,
yes,
100%.
At this weight class. Unfortunately, there's no atom weight.
Well,
right? Because she was permanently. Also, she cannot cut down anymore. Like, she's too big.
Yeah, I was gonna say people are like, oh, I'd love to see her go back down to atom weight. I don't think she can make atom weight. She clearly put on a lot of muscle since moving up.
Yeah, you can clearly see. Yeah, you can clearly see that she's not fast enough.
I mean, she did have a speed advantage over Joanna. Joanna's not the fastest flyer in strawweight, though. I don't think that she. I think she had it wasn't like so significant that she could land punches on Joanna without.
No, I know, but look at the consistency, the way and the output and the quickness with which the punches come. Like, Waterson can be faster than you for one or two shots, like, for example. But since she doesn't even work in combinations.
Well, that's because her
how can she possibly hope to make up for that?
She can't. That's the thing. Well, it works. It works on most people.
She could, but she doesn't.
Right. Mm-hmm. So the only way I could see her going down to atom weight and having it work for her is if she can make the weight safely, and if she can, then she would now have a very significant size advantage where her grappling could actually come into play a little bit more. So she could maybe focus on being more of a top, like a submission grappler who uses big shots to close distance. Then that might work at atom weight, but at strawweight, it's just not going to work because she's not going to have these size advantage. Yeah. She's an average size strawweight, I would say now. Not big at all.
Yeah, the problem is that for that to be a thing is that she has to go to Invicta, and that means like cutting your paycheck in more than half.
Oh yeah. So there's no reason why she should do it. She's too old to even think like that. She's 33 already. She's been fighting God knows how long. Since 2007. Like, she should be, if her management was smart, they would be trying to just get her winnable fights. They should not be going for the best of the best. She should be going for someone like Chana Suarez or even Nina Ansaroff, because Nina Ansaroff would fuck.
No, she won't. Nina Ansaroff is going to take a long while because she's going to have
she wants to have a baby. So, but I could see them being very dumb and trying to fight Claudia Gadelha. Like, that's a fight I would not want them to take. Or even Esparza Esparza actually might be a good fight for her because that's a name fight, and it's a type of fight that Michelle might actually be able to pull off or lose. But she also won't take much damage in the loss either.
Yeah, okay, that I can see that. See that.
Like, I would say, like, if I was her management, I would take a look at the rankings, see which names make them okay, which is the highest, the lowest risk with the most reward, and I think Carla Esparza fits that bill. Low damage. If she loses, it's not a big deal because Carla kind of beats pretty much everybody except for the very best. And if she wins, it puts her in a specific club of fighters who have beaten Carla Esparza, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a good idea. Like, an Alexa Grasso fight, for example, would be dangerous because high risk.
She's going to get damaged.
Exactly, but it's also low reward in the sense that beating Alexa Grasso, it's kind of something a couple people have already done, and it's not really going to do much for her career because she's already beaten Felice Herrig, who beat, like, I think that they now need to be very careful with who they pick to try and fight.
Yeah, like, it's not like they don't have to put her, like, because the problem is that she's in murderer's row, so who is she going to fight? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a significant issue. Also, didn't you get flashes of the Jessica Penne fight? Because I did.
Yeah, but I think Michelle is a good enough athlete that she was able to kind of like escape the worst of it. I think that was more athleticism than anything else, where she's like, she is tough, she is fast, she is explosive. Like Joanna was not ignorant to the potential damage there. I think against Panay, she's like, yeah, she's not going to do shit. Also, keep in mind that Joanna was a very different fighter back then. Like, you know, like she was in a different state mentally. I'm sure she was in a different state physically. She's older now.
Did it look? Harder. Yeah, I can say that. Did it look to you that the weight cut had an effect?
No, I don't think so.
I don't. We may have been wrong about that one.
I mean, we weren't wrong about it. We said like the only way that Michelle wins is if the weight cut affects her greatly, and that's exactly what happened. If there was any effect, it wasn't visible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, leading to the fight, I was really convinced that there was something fucked up because of all the emotion that these people did. If it was just like an artificial thing meant to like raise the profile of the fight, like shitty, but okay, right? Yep. But they called Angela Hill, they called Waterson like with a week going into this fight, like Jesus. Like
I don't know. I
honestly didn't want to. Yeah, probably, but I was like, I don't even want this. I don't even want to watch this fight.
Well, with regards to Joanna herself, like right now ahead of her is Ansaroff, Suarez, Namajunas, Andrade. I don't think Namajunas is fighting anytime soon. I don't think
and Suarez.
Yeah, I don't want Suarez to get the title shot. I don't think she's ready.
Yeah, she's also. I think she's injured.
So I don't know.
Even have
maybe.
Choice.
I think Joanna versus Weili is the way to go. I mean, I don't think.
Also,
I don't know how much
Weili.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and Weili cannot travel to the United States either. So with Joanna, they can make a stadium show in Poland.
That'd be interesting. I just think that now's the time to strike with Joanna because I don't know how much time she has left. It's just that simple. She got a big win. She has only lost to Rose at Strawweight. I don't see a reason why they shouldn't make it happen, honestly. She's beaten Tisha Torres and Michelle Waterson in her last two flyweight fights in the past year, strawweight fights in the last year. Her only loss to Valentina and Rose. Make the fight. And it happens to be, I'd have to rewatch it again probably, but I still scored the fight for Joanna in the rematch with Rose, but I digress.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing.
I think that was not a good decision, personally.
I can see how they give it to Rose, but I don't
think we saw much new at all, or if anything, from Joanna. I think we just saw kind of a return to her older style in spurts. We saw her outfighting in spurts. It kind of like Joanna just kind of like wanted to make sure she kept at the edges of kicking range, because she knew that Michelle doesn't set up her kicks. She doesn't really set up her strikes at all. She kind of just throws them, which works when you're the supreme athlete in terms of, and also there isn't a huge technical gap. In this case, there was a huge technical gap, and Joanna kind of could see everything that she was throwing and coming at her with, and it showed. Joanna avoided most of any of the damaging shots, and she cut off the cage beautifully. In the clinch, she did a great job of establishing head control in the clinch to offset any sort of anything that Michelle might have been trying to set up, either strike-wise or control-wise. Joanna did an excellent job of landing short strikes in the clinch. She consistently would turn her back to the cage. Whenever Michelle was able to reverse, she would get her back to the cage by digging for underhooks and returning her there. She did a phenomenal job of controlling Michelle in every way, shape, or form. And, I mean, this was just a vintage Joanna Jedrzejczyk performance.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say vintage. It was high level up there. Like, she had a 65% total strike average, successful strike average.
Well, that's what I mean. 65%. That's vintage. That vintage meaning like that's like her championship run form. And that's what I think is very important to note is that Joanna didn't go anywhere. She was just facing people who were uniquely suited to taking her out.
Yeah.
Or people who had great game plans. For example, Rose might be uniquely suited to taking Joanna down, but at the same time, she also she arguably lost that second fight. Valentina, it went to decision with Valentina, but Joanna's the only person to make her look human below 135, even remotely human. So, excellent fight. Make the title fight, in my opinion, and that's it. Let's talk about Cub Swanson versus Kohn Gracie, because that was A, fun as shit, and B, it showed that Cub is not completely shot, but let's be real. I think even the Cub of 3 years ago would have looked a little different in that fight. The Cub Swanson who fought Doo Ho Choi probably.
I'm glad you say it. I'm glad you say that.
Yeah, the Cub Swanson who fought Doo Ho Choi probably not.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like for me, like it was like a really dramatic fight to watch because it felt like his last stand. Like this is the last thing this guy is gonna do as far as quote unquote high level fights. And I'm very thankful for the memories, but I honestly don't want to watch him fight again because I know that the person, like you could see flashes of who he was, but he's not there anymore. And what's ahead is dangerous territory. And I worry because he got winded by punching repeatedly to graze his body.
Yeah, he got more winded than Kohn got getting beat to shit in the body, honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my son getting yelled at. Anyway, no. First of all, let's talk about the fact that Swanson definitely won that fight. No.
Yeah. No questions. No questions. He lost the last round, but
yeah.
I don't think maybe he didn't.
No, he didn't lose the last round. He won the last round. He won every round.
But it seemed like he was getting hit much harder, and he was having trouble.
No. Hold on a second.
In the exchanges.
Are you saying that you think Kohn landed harder shots than Cub in round 3?
No. Not necessarily the hardest looking shots, but the more meaningful shots. The problem is that
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, maybe what. Yeah, probably. No, look. There's the thing. Like, you can land hard shots, but they're not necessarily going to be the most damaging shots as far as affecting your opponent.
But
it seemed to me, and maybe this is an artifact of how Cub was fighting. Yeah.
But but that's an arbitrary distinction to make.
Happened?
It's nothing happened. I was just waiting for you to finish. That's an arbitrary distinction.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I don't think that that's arbitrary because you can see the effect of a shot where it connects.
Not true, because when a person is tired... Hold on 1 second. I was interrupted. That's why I stopped talking. Sorry. My wife came over to talk to me real quick.
Oh, keep going.
My point is that when a person is tired, a jab can look a lot more damaging than a straight right hand that knocks somebody's head completely back. But the person has a great poker face. Benson Henderson was amazing at bullshitting strikes that are insanely hard, but he would just shrug his shoulders. I don't think that should play into it. In fact, that's the type of stuff that fools judges, which I don't agree with. I think the impact of the shot is the impact of the shot, and that's what you judge it on. When somebody lands a massive left hook, just because a guy no-sells it doesn't mean that it wasn't a damaging shot. That's what I'm saying by it's arbitrary.
Yes, I see. But then again, here's my counterpoint. That is true, but then what you're saying is that activity only is what matters.
No. I'm not going to score a jab that if somebody stumbles backwards from a jab because they're so visibly tired that it's hard for them to keep their footing, and they just get jabbed with a regular, not like a beanpole jab that like we've seen rock Edson Barboza. Talk about just a jab that just pushes somebody back. I'm not going to score that higher than the guy who's tired who lands a cracking right hook and it happens to be prime Robbie Lawler chin, so nothing happens.
But what if it's just a jab that drops you? Like that one time Cub Swanson got dropped by a jab that didn't look very hard.
It obviously was, and he was moving into it, and he caught him perfectly on the chin. And he didn't get dropped because he was off balance. He got dropped because it hurt him. Like you saw his legs go out from under him. He couldn't get up properly because he was rocked.
But my point is that there is an effect. No, but what I'm saying is that there can be a discernible effect.
Right, when you have to judge the reaction. But you have to judge the effect based on what you see. So again,
but when you look at the reaction of a fight, if you're getting hit and you're backing up, it means that whatever it is that you're doing isn't working.
That's not true. That's completely not true. First of all, he was hitting Kohn more than Kohn was hitting him.
No. I'm not disputing that. I'm disputing the larger argument.
But I'm disputing your argument with the counterpoint that you're saying that, well, Cub was backing up and getting hit. Well, one, he was getting hit at half the rate that he was hitting Kohn. That's number one. And number two, Kohn lost the fight. So to say that,
No,
wasn't
I agree.
working. Clearly,
No,
it was
I
working.
agree.
It was clearly working.
I agree that. Okay. Yes. Okay. Can I go?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't disagree that Kohn lost the fight. By the way, is Kohn or Ron?
Kohn.
Okay, Kohn. Yes. I agree that Kohn lost the fight. Like, the only issue that I had was in the last round where it kind of looked shaky to me. I kind of give it to Swanson, but it looked shaky to me.
How? Why?
Because you could see, because he was getting tired, he was getting hit. Like, the shots, you could see that they were having more of an effect on him.
He got, first of all, that's not true. It was the fact that he was constantly moving at all times that was having an effect on him. And at the last 10 seconds of the round, you saw Cub do far more damage than Kohn, and Kohn was the one who was showing the worst of it. So obviously, Kohn was getting worn down, number one. Number two, Cub landed 59. Cub landed 59 strikes, significant strikes, to 31 for Kohn Gracie. So I don't know what you're saying that Kohn was landing more. He wasn't. He was outstruck nearly 2-1. He was outstruck nearly 2-1, and he was outstruck in head strikes, body strikes.
No, wait. When I say landing more, I don't mean landing more compared to what Cub was landing. I mean landing more compared to what he was landing before.
No, he landed more strikes in round 2.
Let me see.
I'm looking at them right now. I'm looking at Fight Metric in front of me. Kohn landed 36 significant strikes in round 2. He landed 31 in round 3. Cub landed more strikes in round 3 than he did in round 2.
Let me see.
I don't know why you don't believe me. I'm staring at the stats.
No. I want to see it. No. I know. No, look, I can see the argument if that's the case. Like that's the issue that I had with round.
It was just a perception.
Yeah, it's a perception thing. I only watched the fight once. Yeah, you're correct. I'm looking at the stats. Yeah, he got fucked up. Yeah, I'm wrong.
It's fine. It's a perception thing, and that's the problem I have with watching fights with volume and with commentary. Is it happens to be. Bisping did an excellent job last night. We should mention that.
Oh, he's doing an excellent job.
He's just doing an excellent job, and I think he did a great job of saying, yeah, Cub is tired, but he's still winning the fight. And he's still landing the more effective shot. And that's why I was like happy I didn't turn it off, because like normally I have to turn it off because it's like, oh, Cub is tired, he's losing the fight, and then you'll like suddenly hear, like, if you turn your eyes, like if you turn off the screen and you just listen to the audio, if that was Joe Rogan, Kohn Gracie won the fight.
Oh shit.
You know what I mean? If that was Dominick Cruz, I don't know where that's going. Daniel Cormier probably would have. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the commentary has a massive effect on how you view the fight. And I watched that fight partially with the sound off, partially with the sound on, because again, depending on where I was and with my wife, whatever, I had to turn off the sound. But the parts that I had it on for, I watched it twice. One with partial on, partial off, and then I watched the whole thing again with the fight. Sound on, and Bisping does a great job. He really is. He's not he's not enough of a sample size, because again, he hasn't done that much work. But he doesn't seem to fall into a lot of the same narratives, and he kind of points out, like, no, I think this is something that needs to be like. He's doing a good job of pointing out specific things in fights. I think he did a really good job in the Frivola fight too, where he's like, we'll get there too. But Frivola's corner told him that he won round 1 and lost round 2, and Bisping's like, well, maybe, but there's a very strong chance he lost round 1. So he definitely has to win round 3, regardless of whether he won or lost round 1. But if I'm in Frivola's corner, like, I'm telling them maybe that he needs to go for, like, he's talking about how he's like, it's a little iffy. And he said, he also brought up, he's like, round 2, I could see being scored at 10-8. So Bisping seems really aware when he's commentating fights. And I really enjoyed it. I think we can move on, but
I think I know why I got confused. No, I know. I want to say something. I think I know why I got confused. Look at the total strikes in round 1, and look at the total strikes in round 2 and round 3 for Kohn, just for Kohn. Like, they double.
Yeah, well, yes,
they
but he
double. That's why I got
walking forward more. He kind of did a Diaz.
Yeah,
he did a Diaz,
which is not a good thing. No, yeah, but the problem is that he doesn't have the technical.
Right. And he doesn't have the, and he doesn't really have the power to do it either. I don't think he has. He doesn't seem to.
Yeah, that's got it up here.
His punches only started to have an effect after Cub gassed himself out. Now, let's talk about the actual fight in terms of the technicals. From a technical perspective, Kohn's toughness is good for him, but he needs to get out of that camp.
Bad for him.
I think he needs to get out of that camp because
not gonna happen.
I know, but I think he needs to get. If he wants to develop as an MMA fighter, he really needs to develop a proper ass game. He has two options. Either he can pursue being the better grappler and go work with someone like Damian Maia, or he can work on his striking and pressure footwork, and he can go to someone like Rafael Cordero. I think that those are his two best options. I don't know if he'll do either of those. I don't think he will, but
usually,
I saw him in some fashion. This has been called out something like he probably works on this kind of move where he was pulling guard, holding the ankles so that Cub couldn't get away when he would try to back up, and he would try and land an up kick, which was really good. But again, like he just really didn't have the technical tools to do what he wanted to do, which is either get him to the ground or strike with him. Cub did a great job of fighting off the back foot, but the problem is that you can't fight off the back foot for 3 rounds straight like that, especially when you're at his age and that much damage, and you're just not the same athlete you were. And you saw that it started to wear down on him, and he started to get stuck in the clinch more. Now, Swanson started to realize, like, hey, this is not a death sentence. I can be in the clinch. This is not Brian Ortega, right? Like, the clinch isn't an automatic death sentence, which is what it was with Brian Ortega. He started to realize, like, no, I can fight here, and I can use this as like kind of like a rest position, so I don't have to constantly move back. If he realized that earlier in the fight, he would have done better, I think. And I think he would have had.
Sure.
He was dominating Kohn. He really was.
I know, but yes, but if you see the optic in just landing more shots, I'm looking at the total strike.
You're completely cutting out. I can't hear what you're saying.
Couldn't move, and so they were like almost like chest to chest.
I literally could not hear a word you said.
And that's kind of why, like,
Alejandro, I could not hear a word you said.
I don't think he necessarily chose that.
Alejandro.
Yes? Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you perfectly fine, but you cut out for most of it, like your whole first part.
What I thought is that
I only started hearing you when you were talking about how they were chest to chest.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the thing is that from watching it only once, it seemed to me like that was mostly because he started having more like that. I didn't think that was necessarily voluntary. Like he ran out of energy pretty much.
No, that's what I'm saying. Cub only initiated those clinches as a rest position when he could have done that earlier in the fight, which would have preserved his energy. Like,
Sure.
Let me explain. Holly Holm did it with Ronda Rousey. She knew she would clinch up, and she developed specific tools to work her way out of those positions. She used the clinch intentionally. And it's something Holly Holm does a lot, and it's one of her best tools, is that she's an outfighter, but she also will close the distance on her terms. Cub started to do that when he had no choice, where he felt like, I can't keep moving back, so I'm going to engage in the clinch and use it to either circle around, get back to the middle of the cage, or I'm going to land some strikes and rest here, whatever it might be. And he did it very effectively, even when he was extremely tired. So what I'm saying is that Cub, the problem was he was afraid of engaging the clinch because he didn't want to engage in grappling at all. The problem with being an outfighter like that is you can't do that. It's almost impossible to have that much gas. Very few people can do that, especially Cub Swanson at this state in his career. So what he should have been doing is engaging in those clinches earlier on his terms, landing a few strikes, using it to circle back to the middle of the cage. Cub is a better clinch fighter than Kohn Gracie. Period. End of story. We saw that.
Yes, okay. That's the thing you said I agree with. That's the thing you said I agree with.
Could have used the clinch to engage Kohn on his term.
Okay, I agree, but that's not what he did. Like,
I know it's not what he did.
Yeah,
I'm saying that he could have, because he was too concerned with the clinch being an opportunity for Kohn to grapple, and therefore he completely eliminated that as an area of effect for him to land his own strikes until he had no choice.
Yeah, but maybe he knows his chin is not the same. Maybe he knows his chin is not the same and he doesn't want to run the risk. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that clearly there were factors that made him say, I'm not going to engage in this realm of the fight unless I'm forced to. I'm saying that's all. And we saw that in the fight, that it was clearly a mistake because he clearly realized as the fight went on, like, no, I'm fine here. Even when he was tired, and he was actually doing it more and more as the fight went on because he's like, I could just fuck him up here. I think that's very important. I think we should move on from this fight. Not because I want to. It was a phenomenal fight. Deserved.
And I'm happy for Coach Swanson.
Honestly, deserved fight of the night. But let's talk about something that made us both very happy. Nico Price. Holy shit, man. That's the most Nico Price finish. Second fight of his UFC career and maybe his whole career. I don't know his pre-UFC work.
He does some weird shit.
Win from the bottom. He upkicked KO'd James Vick in James Vick's welterweight debut. It was funny as shit. James Vick is apparently okay, so I can laugh at it.
Yeah, we don't want him to die. We don't want him to develop some kind of long-lasting damage, right?
James Vick.
Yeah, okay, we're not fond of him, but I think his jaw broke. I think, did you hear the sound, the cracks?
Yes, it was so fucking satisfying.
Nico Price that's just bone breaking.
Just keep putting Nico Price in fights where it's not really good fighters. Don't put him with don't put him with Jeff Neal, Or if you're gonna put him with good fighters, make sure they're guys like Tim Means, where they have clear problems that can be exploited, and then by someone like Nico Price, right? Because Nico Price is not the most technical fighter.
No, but I just want he okay. I put it like this.
It's so fucking fun.
His quotient for happiness is very high, and he keeps. I just want him to keep winning from weird positions.
I mean, this is the dude whose entire UFC career, not a single fight has gone to a decision. All of them are fucking finishes, including his losses, and his one no contest was also a finish, but it was overturned for marijuana. So,
how old is he?
Nico Price
How old is he? Because
he's not old. He's 30 years old. He's been fighting since 2012, so he's 7 years in. He's not going to get better, I don't think, but he's going to get more.
Maybe, but he will always be fun.
Yeah. James Vick, don't really care what he does next, as long as he gets knocked out again.
No.
Amanda Ribas.
No, he needs to look at his life.
Amanda Ribas just kind of fucking dominated Mackenzie Dern. Flat out.
It was
Dern.
It was expected.
Yeah, Ribas is clearly a solid prospect in her own right. And Dern looked pretty much the same as she always did, except that she made weight without it. And the difference is that the one who could take advantage of the fact he has zero head in defense.
Yeah.
The big problem is that I'm going to point this out, and maybe people will be like, "Oh, you're weird." Dern is thick, and not in the way that Jessica Andrade is thick. She's curvy. She is, she's very large breasts.
She's voluptuous. She has a voluptuous body.
She's not muscular. She's not, she doesn't have the ideal athletic body type is how I would put it. And breasts are heavy, having thick hips and ass and all that shit. That's weight. And when you're fighting at 115 and you have someone who is like Amanda Ribas, who is not thick and clearly she's not humongous, but she's clearly athletic and solid strength for the weight class. She's not one. She's somebody who it's important to point out things are going to be a problem for her, because if she goes up to 125, she's going to have the problem of she's probably going to be among the smaller people in the weight class. But at 150, she's going to be much slower, and that showed. Ribas had a fucking crazy speed advantage, and she was throwing straight punches while Dern was winging these big swinging hooks. And the problem is that Dern does that well with her chin straight up in the air. When she backs up, her chin is straight up in the air. I don't know where Dern trains, but she needs to train that. She needs to change that camp, because it's not good. I don't know where she trains, honestly. It's problematic that we're not seeing too much development from her. This is still her relying on her physical gifts, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't, and again, coming back 4 months after giving birth, probably not the best call either.
Yeah, that's. I wanted the good thing is that you just made most of the points I wanted to make for me.
Sorry.
What I will say is that that's great. The problem is that I think she came back too soon. I was gonna mention the exact same thing you said about her physicality. You could see that she was softer Like she's clearly like, you don't go through something as significant as
childbirth,
being a high level athlete, then 9 months of just putting like assembling a human being, and then giving birth, and then 5 months you're back into fighting.
Did you just say assembling a human being?
Yes, assembling a human being. Like it's not. It's not small work. Like
no, I know. My wife's doing it right now, so I know.
I know. Yeah, and like that takes away from your body. Like
oh, I know.
And just she came back too soon. Like, and you could see that there was a significant strength differential in that for like a high level, like no gi jiu-jitsu grappler, and to be unable to get a grip on someone, and when you get a grip on someone, you are not able to sustain it.
Well, Hibas is also not a novice grappler. She's a black belt herself.
No, I know.
That's important.
In jiu-jitsu and judo.
Yes. So and we saw that gorgeous throw.
Yo, amazing.
Counter the takedown. Beautiful. Ribas kind of just fucked her up in every range too. Like there was really not much.
Yeah, like okay, totally like I usually don't say like, oh, change camp or whatever, unless I see like significant like technical deficiencies that can get someone hurt, because I'm just like, let people do what they want to do, right? But when you're doing something that can get you hurt, as happened here, like we know she has toughness, like I can see there, but first of all, get a physical trainer that's somebody that can get your body up to like the level of the weight class, and then like you need to hire an actual boxing coach that knows what he's doing,
right,
and that knows how to work with what you have, because Mackenzie Dern is never going to be super fast, but she can be technical and she can be super strong, but sadly we didn't see that here because of what the aforementioned points.
Correct.
But yeah, like it's like she's in a tough spot, and I mean, and again, like this could be just a prospect loss and what she needed.
No, I think
in
it's
order
definitely
to
a
go
prospect loss. There's no question that it's a prospect loss.
These issues.
Yeah. Whether she'll shore up any issues or not, I think is a different story. But
it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen.
Correct. She is a high level athlete in another sport, so we may see her like understand like this is not going to work. But we'll see.
She needs to train some wrestling to get some power on those takedowns, because that's what she lacked here.
Yes. Okay. Frivola, Pena, split decision. I would have preferred a draw. Just to not argue your point. You were talking about how he's Polo Reyes. He's, the red Polo Reyes.
Not because they're the same fighter. They're very different fighters.
They're very different. That's what I was saying. Like,
but look at it this way. He cannot seem to find a way to not get himself into protracted, damaging exchanges.
I think that's more because he just doesn't have the technical skill set to do it, not because he wants
Polo Reyes.
Polo Reyes engages in them on purpose.
No, but that's because that's what he knew how to do.
Well,
no, I know, but
Frivola is trying not to. Frivola is trying
but he can't help. No, but his style is entirely geared towards doing that. That's the point.
Well, I don't agree with that. He's trying to out-grapple. No. He's trying to out-grapple his freaking opponents, but he can't.
You just made my argument for me. I'm not going to say anything.
Why did I for you? Polo Reyes is not trying to out-grapple his opponents. He's trying to blow with them.
The result is the same. You have technical deficiencies there, and you end up having these.
That's an insanely broad topic. You could say fucking dozens of fighters are like Polo Reyes then.
No, but not in the same way, because Frivola,
he has a different style and he has a different mentality. It's just that
his mentality is the same.
His mentality
getting there, hold the distance. When it doesn't work, swing.
Stop. Polo Reyes is trying to engage in striking battles with his opponents and is a brawling style. Hence, his entire style literally is geared towards creating brawls in which he's getting knocked out and taking damage. Frivola is not trying to engage in these striking battles and brawls, but instead is trying to actually beat his opponent where he's best, or do it in a way where he's not taking damage. It's just that he's not at the technical skill level that he can avoid taking damage, because he's only like 9 fights into his career and is already fighting pretty high-end lightweights because he happened to fight Lando Venata, which was a fucking mistake. Okay,
but again, like the fight ends up looking the same. He's like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna swing, And then they end up swinging, and the same thing
because
happens.
he doesn't know how to, because he doesn't have a developed striking game. And when you're getting you're getting stopped from engaging in your grappling style to impose your will on them, and you're forced to stand on the feet against technically better strikers, or not necessarily better, but technically.
Where does he find his success?
He doesn't have a.
Where does he find his success?
Really, where does he find success? When he can engage in his grappling.
But it doesn't work, so where is he finding his success? Striking.
That's like saying Clay Guida. So you're basically, Clay Guida is also Paulo Reyes.
Not exactly, because Clay Guida has more success grappling.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Hold on. No, stop. You're basically saying because he's not a good enough grappler, therefore he's Marco Polo Reyes. What?
No, similar. I'm not saying they're
he's
the
not
same.
Similar.
But they're similar. Yeah,
Marco Polo Reyes.
I will die on this hill.
It's ridiculous hill to die on. You're basically saying because he's not a good enough striker, therefore he's Marco Polo Reyes. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. That's a ridiculous statement, man. Come on.
If you go forward and you take damage for no reason, well, you could.
He's not taking it for no reason. He's taking it because he doesn't have a choice. Marco Polo Reyes takes it for no reason.
No, he doesn't have a choice.
Hold on. We've seen Marco Polo Reyes actually do okay with his striking when he doesn't brawl, but he gets tagged and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to hit you back harder." Frivolo's like, "Shit, I'm getting hit. I don't know what to do."
It kind of.
What? What?
It's kind of the same.
It's not. Just because the results might be similar, because Frivolo's like, I got to throw really hard punches because I'm not really sure how else to get out of the situation. It doesn't mean he's the same as Marco Polo Reyes. When your paths to getting somewhere are so at like such opposite ends of the scale, you're not saying like, oh, they're similar. Like, yeah, the results of very different paths can lead to similar results, but the bottom line is that their methods of getting there are completely different. Frivola has a totally different mentality. He's trying to avoid those situations, while Polo Reyes is like, I'm a fucking throw down. Like, come on.
It should be noted that the last win on Polo Reyes' record, I think, is Matt Frivola.
It was Matt Frivola. I think you're right. I think you're right. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look it up.
No, I think...
Yeah, it was. A knockout in the first round. First round knockout.
Damn, that Polo Reyes hits hard.
Polo Reyes is hard. Okay, let's move on. Eric Anders versus Gerald Muir.
Okay, no, well, let's say something about Luis Peña, because I feel bad now.
I don't feel bad. Listen, you can't...
No, I like his performance.
I didn't. I think his defense looked like...
I thought he did it.
His defense looked horrible.
But that's how it always looks, though.
Well, he's fighting at American Kickboxing Academy, and it's not going to get better there.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my problem. He's at the wrong camp. He's at the wrong camp to fix his issues. Yeah, he's great at anti-wrestling, but he's already gotten that skill set. He should get the hell out of there. Now he's worked to a point where his anti-wrestling is actually really, 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 really good. Great. Nice. Your offensive striking, we see it's potent. We see you can do damage. You're really long. You're really tall. Your defense is very tall man defense. He leans backward with his left hand up to his chin and is still getting tagged with big punches from a dude who's just not...
He does look a bit like Rockhold, right?
Yeah, kind of. But like earlier career Rockhold. Not... Yeah,
I know. Like, that's the kind of style you develop on your own by being in that environment.
Yeah, and that didn't work out for Rockhold in the end, did it? And Michael Trizano beats Luis Peña again. And that's the problem. It's now been multiple fights since that fight, and he would still lose to the exact same fighter he lost to a few fights ago, because he hasn't actually developed the skills necessary to change the...
How old is he?
He is young. He's 26.
He's time.
He has
time. Well, no, maybe not. Because...
Does he have time at American Kickboxing Academy where they literally destroy your body in a couple of years and they don't actually teach you striking defense? I don't think so. Yeah. I think if he doesn't leave there, we're gonna see him just fizzle. I don't think he'll make it anywhere in terms of especially not at lightweight. Eric Anders defeated Gerald Meerschaert by split decision. Also, the argument is there for Gerald.
I like what I saw.
I like what I saw from Eric. I don't know if middleweight's the right weight class for him, because he does seem to be. He seems to he's very big. He's very big, and like if you're not able to out-athlete Gerald Meerschaert, maybe you should move up to light heavyweight. Because I think that the skills that he's clearly developed and worked on, like he was pumping out a jab this time to close the distance. He was actually, upping his volume, which is a very important thing. He was using leg kicks. Like he seems to be working on his offensive striking and his output and the things that were giving him problems. And he was doing okay on the outside too. It's just that I feel like he's going to be running into guys who are too fast for him to react. Even though he's strong, powerful, he hits hard and all that stuff, I think he would actually do better at light heavyweight, personally.
I would have to wait a little bit more, but I see what you say. But I thought that there was something wrong with him. I'm not sure, but it seemed like there was something wrong with the right side of his body, like wave or something.
Yeah, but that was only in the third round.
Well. Yeah, but he was moving weird earlier. Anyways, like.
Oh, that's actually that's just how he moves around.
Really?
Yeah, he moves around with like that leaning style, like that weird lean thing you're talking about. That's how he walks around.
Yeah, no, look, okay, well, here's what I see. Like, I did see like him developing some like defensive awareness, like after he throws his combination, which is good that he's throwing combinations now. He shells up. Like that wasn't there before necessarily, and he's trying to up his volume. But I think he still has like an issue with accuracy. He has to work on.
I'm gonna pull up the stats just so I can kind of like, yeah. This is definitely like he threw a fair amount of strikes. He threw 178 strikes this fight. Like that's a fair amount for Eric. I mean.
Yeah, but what my point is that it also wasn't working too much because on Meerschaert because of the intent behind the strikes. I think that if he just like aimed lower, like it's a larger target and he has a ton of power. Like there's worse things you can be in life than male Jessica Andrade. Like he has that stoutness to him, and if he just aimed lower, he would have a hell of a lot more success. Paulo Costa's entire game is.
I don't know where he trained.
I don't know either. But just like, if I could like give him a suggestion, right? And of course, I'm sure he's waiting with bated breath to hear my suggestion.
Yeah,
it's probably not giving shit.
I mean, if I send him more beef jerky, he might listen to us.
Yeah. But yeah, like he would open his game up. Like if he just like decided, you know what, I'm not gonna run as many risks, throw headhunting. I'm gonna throw lower because it's a higher probability of landing.
I think that
for me, he's going whole game.
I think that's something that a lot of fighters can do, though.
Yeah, in the general, yes, but he has a shit ton of strength. Like again, like he could be male Jessica Andrade.
I mean, I think it's also important to note he's only been fighting for 4 years.
Yeah, that's nuts.
He's been fighting since 2015 professionally. The dude is 32, and it's middleweight / light heavyweight. Like, I would be very interested to see him do more, and like. I don't get why he doesn't engage in the grappling more. The guy is a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, apparently, so he's got some skills.
I don't know.
More to say than a lot of other fighters.
I don't know. How long has he been training Jiu-Jitsu, though?
It says on Wiki that he's been active since 2012. I don't know how that translates. I'm assuming that means maybe an amateur career or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to check Tapology because they would have that information. But I like what I saw from him. Like even if he lost, like that fight could have gone either way. Like I like the fights a lot.
Yeah,
he had 16 amateur fights, and he won most of them. He lost 1, 2, 3 amateur fights out of 16, and he had 1 draw, 1 canceled bout. Sorry, I don't know what. No, he had 1 draw. He had 1 draw. But yeah, I like Eric Anders, and I really want to see him continue to succeed. Let's move on to Mike Davis versus Thomas Gifford. We're not going to spend too much time on this because I still want to talk about Dominick Reyes versus Chris Weidman.
Yeah, you take it from here.
Okay, shame on his corner. Shame on that ref. They pulled the referee from the Nico Price-James Swick fight, apparently. I don't know his name, but if I did, I would be blasting him by name. That was disgusting. There was no reason for that fight to continue going after round 1, let alone round 2. Thomas Gifford suffered that faceplant KO when he was knocked out already for 2 rounds, basically. That was disgusting. It was
despicable.
It was really despicable. This is how someone is going to die.
Yeah, this is how people die. Indeed.
And they don't die in the cage. They die at the hospital later most of the time. And so far we haven't heard anything, so I'm really hoping that he'll be okay. But like, this guy just lost years of his life, probably years of functionality as a person, with like the amount of brain cells that he probably just had knocked out of him, literally. I don't. And his father is in his corner. How can you be in that corner? How can you, after round 2, ask your son? I don't know if it was his father asking him, but it's basically like, how you feel? And he responds, horrible. How do you fucking send him back out there? After round 1, he kept saying, look at me, and he didn't look at him because I don't think he heard him. So,
yeah,
in every way, shape, and form, it was a disgrace. That referee should not be allowed to ref again.
And the corner should have their licenses revoked.
The corners should have their licenses revoked, and Thomas Gifford should not be allowed to fight again until he is cleared through multiple batteries of medical tests to make sure that he's actually okay. Because that is career and life-altering damage he took. It was disgusting. It was disturbing. It was hard to watch. Like, we watch a fight. We watch a sport where we were talking about Nico Price versus James Vick, right? Gleefully reveling in the KO. If James Vick took the fight damage that he was taking, that Thomas Gifford do, I would not be okay with it. Because there's something, there's a difference between a quick KO, where it's like the guy just got knocked out and end of story, and a person just getting beaten to shit. It's not a fight, okay? That wasn't a fight. That was just a fucking beating, and it was disgusting. And I really, really hope that Thomas is okay.
Yeah. To me, like, I was looking at it and I thought, like, okay, like, this is a professional fight, right? And so what you got out of him was like the 5 beatings worth of damage, 5 to 4 beatings worth of damage.
I think it was even more because realistically, most fights you just don't take that much damage.
Yeah,
most fights you don't take round 1 worth of damage.
No, I'm talking about wars.
Yeah,
like, specifically wars. Like,
I mean,
like even then, like the way he fell, like compounded to the damage that he has already taken, and I'm thinking like that's like. That's not even like what a professional fighter should do. Like even a working man's fighter, right? Mm-hmm. Like, because the extent, like, that literally like compromises your ability to make a living.
Yeah.
And this guy's super young too. Like, what the
26 or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
He's young.
Like, see, this is the exact moment that I say drop that training camp.
It's his father.
That training thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, but again, like, unless I'm seeing this, like, not this, like, even less damage, right? But when you have these issues where technically you're not there, and these people clearly do not have your best interest at heart, get the fuck out of there.
Yes.
These people don't give a shit.
Yeah. Let's move on real quick to Deiveson Figueiredo versus Tim Elliott. We're not going to talk about any other fights on this card. Figueiredo submitted Tim Elliott with a guillotine choke off a knee tap takedown, and beautiful submission.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a gorgeous submission. He took advantage of Tim Elliott circling into the side with his head on, and you don't really want to do that because that puts you in danger for the guillotine, and Figueiredo fucking took his head home with him. Like, you have to be very careful with those takedown attempts. You can't just be so it's a problem Tim Elliott's had too. Like, it's not like he hasn't been submitted a couple times already. He's actually lost 4 of his fights by submission. And this is his second fight that he's lost by guillotine against a high level fighter. The other one being Joseph Benavidez, despite the fact that he was out wrestling Joseph Benavidez. Elliott is one of those guys who I absolutely love to watch. I think he's a blast. He's clearly high level in many areas, but he's also incredibly susceptible to being finished. And that's his problem. Or susceptible to being beaten, but he can be finished. And that's a problem because a lot of these fighters are really good at finishing on the ground with submissions. And when you're as reckless as Tim, that can happen a lot. And unfortunately, in his last 2 losses, it happened. So I would say if Cejudo's not moving back down to flyweight. Make an interim title between Benavidez and Figueiredo, and just do it and make it happen. Benavidez should win that fight, and then finally get the title he's earned. Let's move on really quickly. We're going to discuss the ONE Championship, part 1 and part 2. Only a couple of them. Angela Lee regained her title with 12 seconds left by submission. Demetrius Johnson did Demetrius Johnson things and just looked amazing and won the Flyweight Grand Prix. What else? Yushin Okami got a win, so that's nice. Brandon Vera got knocked the F out by... I'm not going to... I can't pronounce that. I'm not going to try. Bibiano Fernandez regained his title with illegal elbows, DQ. And Georgia Petrosyan did Georgian Petrosyan things. So
I'm glad he's still around.
Yeah. Dude's a freaking great kickboxer. So there's that. Let's talk about the upcoming main event for the next UFC on ESPN 6 card. Dominick Reyes versus Chris Weidman. Yair Rodriguez versus Jeremy Stephens was rescheduled to this card, but we've already talked about that, so not really going to talk about it. But Reyes, Weidman, this is a fight that I guess this will kind of show us where Chris is at, right? I mean, if he can beat Dominick Reyes.
Reyes too.
Reyes I think it'll show us where Reyes is in obviously a developmental sense.
He has a lot of time. He's super young for this.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. He's not just super young for light heavyweight. He's super young for anywhere above middleweight even. He's 29. He's got time.
Yeah.
He's only been fighting since 2014 also. He's got a lot of time. Many people scored the Volkan Oezdemir fight for Volkan. A lot of people did score it for them apparently. I don't think I did. If I remember correctly, live, I didn't rewatch it, which I kind of wanted to before talking about it, but I did not rewatch it. Most people scored it. I can see both ways. I'm not mad either way, honestly. I'm really not.
I must not be remembering correctly then.
It was super close. It was super close. Like I'm talking like most people did score, most media, because I don't know how we can gauge.
Don't listen to him.
No, I'm saying like it was super close. It wasn't like a robbery of any sort, in my opinion. It's like Reyes won round 3 and 2 probably, and Volkan won round 1. Like that's the problem is that I don't think this is the issue for Volkan is that not Volkan, for Reyes is that Chris is actually looking better technically than he ever has. He's not regressing, which I think we can honestly say Luke Rockhold did. But Weidman looks better than he has. And in specific areas where he's been weak in the past. Like he's fighting better off the back foot than he ever has before. He's doing a better job of maintaining his gas tank also. And I don't know if Reyes is there yet. And that's what concerns me. Now, obviously, the question is Weidman's durability. He's been finished 4 times in his last 5 fights.
Oof.
It's just a matter of how durable is Weidman at this point, I think. I really don't know if Reyes consistently stop Weidman takedown when he got taken down by Volkan Oezdemir. Can he, and Ovinson Prue, can he get up if Weidman takes him down? Because Weidman's an incredible top control player. Can Reyes outfight well enough if Weidman can use his pressure boxing game? I don't know. I would like to see it, though. That's what's important. Because I think that if Reyes can consistently push Weidman back to the fence, I do think that he has the technical skills off the front coming forward to take out Weidman. And he has the power for sure. And Weidman, the problem for Weidman is going to be that he's not the fastest guy. It's not like he's going to gain a significant speed advantage at light heavyweight, I think. He was never the fastest guy at middleweight. He was deceptively good at closing distance, but I don't think anyone would claim that he has the fastest hands or that he's moves around the cage. He's kind of a plotter, actually, in ways. Yeah. But he would close the distance. He had a good way of being closer than you actually thought he was.
Also, he has super long arms.
He has super long arms. But I think Reyes also, I think he has reach to match. I think there's a 78 versus 79 inch reach advantage. Reach. I don't think it's that far off. Weidman has a 78 inch reach and Reyes is 77. Sorry. Reyes is also a little bit taller, 6'4" versus 6'2". Yeah. I really like Chris. I need to make that very clear. I want to pick him because I think from a technical perspective, I do think he has the tools to actually be the one to test Dominick Reyes and kind of beat him back. But it comes down to his durability. It took Jacare 3 rounds of landing bombs to take him out. I think that the problem with the Weidman problem is that the shots he got knocked out by are not joke shots. Like Luke Rockhold probably had to land 100 strikes to his head from mount to get the finish, and Weidman wasn't out. Yoel Romero's flying knee would have taken out anybody. And Mousasi landed devastating knees, and Weidman wasn't out. He was rocked badly, and the whole
that was weird. That one was strange.
That's the thing. Finished. It's not like Weidman's getting deaded. Rockhold was getting deaded by shots. Weidman was mostly still conscious for 3 of those 4 knockouts. The one he wasn't was against Jacare. But it took a while to get there. Yeah. So is Weidman's chin shot? He's definitely not as durable as he was, but I don't know.
Well, we're going to see here, assuming he gets touched.
I want to say, this is a main event, and that's the problem, is that Weidman's not really a decision guy, to put it lightly. He's kind of a dude who...
he could be.
He very rarely goes. The last time he went to decision was Lyoto Machida, and he gassed, and he kind of faded in rounds 4 and 5. And before that, he went to decision with Maia on 8 days' notice. So other than that, he's just knocking everyone out or submitting them.
Or getting knocked out.
Yeah. I want to say Weidman. I really want to pick Weidman.
This is a 3-round fight. This is a 3-round fight, right? He's not.
It's a 5-round fight.
5.
It's the main event. That's why. If this was 3 rounds, I honestly would pick Weidman to win pretty clearly, because I just think he does have the tools to beat Reyes. I don't.
Okay, let me see if I can convince you that Weidman is going to win. I'm not entirely sure, but let's see. I'm going to try to convince myself.
I'm not.
I like the Chris. No, I know. I like the Chris. So let's see how convinced we can become after this. Weidman is not significantly smaller. His wrestling pedigree is significantly better. His high-level competition is significantly better. But his strength of schedule. So some he's won, some he's lost, but they're significantly better.
He's better in every way except for durability.
That's the thing. Everything he brings to the table is significantly better.
Right. It's very rare for me. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. It's very rare for me to pick a fight based on the fact that I think one guy is just shot physically. Against Diego Sanchez versus Matt Brown, I was like, it doesn't matter how this is going to... against Ali Quinta and against Matt Brown, I was like, it's going to be a first-round knockout because both of these guys are knockout artists who are going to walk forward and just knock out Diego Sanchez because they know they just have to land a solid shot. That's why I picked them both to win, not just win, but rock out round 1. It's the type of fight where I'm like, how shot are you?
But that's not something that we have seen from Weidman yet. That he just has to get punched.
Essentially, this is what it comes down to.
I think he could take a shot, and then.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, do we believe he can close the distance and get to Reyes' hips? Yes or no?
Yeah.
At some point during the round.
I do think he can.
Once he gets there. Okay, so So we think that that's very likely. Once he gets there, if he puts chain wrestling on Reyes, how likely is it that he takes him down and Reyes doesn't know what to do because he's never faced that?
I think he would be able to take him down. I don't think I think Reyes is actually quite well schooled, so I don't think he's going to be clueless. That's the thing. That's what concern.
Not the same.
No, I don't think Reyes is going to suddenly become a fucking amazing grappler overnight. What I'm saying is that when a fighter is well schooled, they don't need to be. They need to be in specific areas and how to counter the attack of their opponent. I don't think Reyes is going to magically turn into an amazing grappler, but neither did Holly Holm versus Ronda Rousey, but she was able to shut down her grappling. It's entirely dependent on what you're schooled to do. If Reyes is schooled well in countering. So if Weidman takes you down, here's what we're going to do specifically to get up and how to counter him or how to stall him out or whatever it might be. It's very possible that Reyes can effectively employ that. Do I think he will necessarily? Maybe. Weidman is kind of like he kind of builds on his success as time goes, and usually when he falls behind, we haven't seen him really come back and win. So I do think that's
in the Gastelum fight.
Yeah, I do think.
He was significantly larger.
I said usually. And we should also note that Gastelum's entire level of success in that first round was that knockdown because Chris was beating him the entire round. I really want to see Chris win, and I do think he has the capabilities of doing it. It's just a matter of, can Reyes put him down, put him out? I think the answer to both are yes. But I'm going to go on the side of experience, of skill, of elite competition that he's faced. I'm going to pick Chris Weidman. I do think he's going to maybe get a submission in the third or fourth round, similar to the Gastelum fight, where he might take his licks, he might get hurt even, but I think that he's going to be able to eventually break down Reyes with the grappling. So I'm going to go late third or early fourth round submission. Personally,
I don't think it makes. I don't think it makes it to the judges either way.
Either way, no, I don't. I'd be very surprised.
Because if Weidman cannot take a shot,
Weidman can't take a shot. It's over.
His shot.
There's no.
Reyes is gonna find him.
I saw Chris recently, and he's fucking massive looking. Like, he looked absolutely gigantic. Like, it's really scary. Like, it was Elias was there and Chris and a bunch of other fighters, but like Chris versus next to Elias, like there was, like, you could see the size difference. And Elias is not a tiny middleweight or anything.
Yeah. How was he making middleweight though?
I don't know. Well, that's it for the podcast. Thank you all so much for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at MMAngstP. So that's MMAngstP. You could follow us on YouTube, MMAngst Podcast. Same thing on SoundCloud. Buy some beef jerky from me. You can always order. Follow me on Twitter at AgentBen10. You can follow Alejandro. What's your Twitter handle? At AlejandroCJ3.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. Give us a follow on Twitter. Let us know what you think of the episode, and we're always open to feedback. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Yes, and also, is he or is he not Paulo Reyes?
Fuck you. Also, before I forget, just the last thing I want to say is also I started writing for a website called thefightsite.com. Give us a check us out. I wrote a couple of Abu Dhabi stuff. I'm going to be writing a couple more articles, and keep an eye out for that. Give them a look. It's an amazing website, amazing group of writers. They've done this. They rank the top 20 fighters of all time. Phenomenal stuff. Definitely get them to check them out. Check us out.
Will do.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.